Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special Christmas episode of The Devil's Due. Being at Christmas, court is not necessarily in session because, federal holidays and all. My name is Carl Duty. I am your host. With me, as always, is the man who gives the best psychiatric help for 5 cents, Mr. Drew Celestino.
It sounds cheap. I should raise my rates.
Well, Charlie Brown thing.
Oh, okay. I don't know Peanuts very well. I kind of know the characters a little bit, but not... It's Peanuts, right, Charlie Brown?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I know things. I'm smart.
Happy holidays, sir.
Yes.
This is our...
Merry everyone.
Yes, this is our Christmas episode, more or less.
Kind of.
You can kind of call it a Star Wars holiday special.
Oh, I hope our quality level is higher than that.
Although more cheer will be had, to be sure. This is not the last episode we are recording before Christmas, but this is the last one that will come out before Christmas.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
So that means that at our next taping, we'll have to avoid discussion of the holiday because it will be post-holiday. So
yeah, kinda.
Future.
Our next taping will still be pre-holiday.
We have to figure this out, actually. I don't think we've thought this through yet.
No, because look at let me bring up my calendar here.
Okay.
We're prepared here on the Devil's Due.
We are. Look at us.
All right, so today is Saturday the 17th.
It is.
This episode will post Wednesday, December 21st. If everything goes according to schedule, our next recording will be December 23rd.
Oh, okay. All right.
And then that episode will post December 28th.
Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll just go all in on the holiday next taping and just say throw caution to the wind. The hell with it.
But we will not have experienced Christmas at our next taping.
That's okay though. It'll be the official Christmas party of the Devil's Due.
Okay.
So I'll make some beer nog and
throw
a couple back.
No.
Party it up.
I do not like eggnog.
You'll like mine.
Does it have the same consistency as regular eggnog? Because that's what gets me. It's not the flavor of eggnog I don't like. It's the feeling of something that has the consistency of snot.
No,
down the back of
mine
my
is
throat.
super creamy. Like really thick chocolate milk.
Okay.
Kind of.
All right.
Trust me, man.
All right.
I'd never lie to you.
That's a lie in and of itself.
No, it's not. What are you talking about?
Yeah. But you know what?
Oh, my God.
Seeing as it's
Bus just ran me over.
Seeing as it's the Star Wars holiday special, doing things a little different, I have a present for you, sir.
You already gave me one.
No, this is your present.
This is the on-air present?
Yeah, this is the on-air present. You're
Man.
gonna love it. There you go. Knock yourself out.
Why does it have Justin Bieber wrapping paper?
Because I know you're a believer.
Oh, God. This is terrible. You're ruining the spirit of things, man.
No, I'm not. I'm giving you something I know you're going to enjoy.
There's several labels on it.
Well, labels had to cover up the window of the envelope.
Okay, can I throw this Bieber paper away?
If you want.
I'm not going to frame it or anything.
It might have collector value.
I don't want to know who's in the market for that. This is embarrassing. Oh my God! Is this what I think it is? Are these photographs of you as a child with all of your toys? Oh my God! This is ridiculous.
Permission to swear granted.
I want to so badly. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, so it looks like we have a Hoth playset. We've got this is the G.I. Joe plane I had.
Yeah, I thought you.
What is that one? That's I don't know. I had that. What, the forward-facing wings? I had that one.
Yeah.
Oh, look, wrestling figures. Rowdy Piper. I'm not sure who that guy is. And Sergeant Slaughter.
No. It's Roddy Piper, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Ricky Steamboat.
And Corporal Kirshner.
Oh, God. I don't even know who that is. And I'm a wrestling fan. Looks like you got yourself a little pump of some kind here. What is that? What is this one?
Look at the stuff lower.
I can't make it out.
That was the Star Wars micro collection I told you about.
Oh. Another G.I. Joe vehicle. Dinobots. A monkey of some kind?
Donkey Kong.
That's Donkey Kong?
Yes.
It is Donkey Kong. Oh, man. See, you were a Nintendo nerd too. Don't deny it.
Never said it wasn't.
Incredible Hulk Underoos.
Yep.
He's not in the Underoos, but he's unwrapping the Underoos. Not to mention, look at that in the foreground, in the shot. There's the Star Wars Death Star box. My God. Oh my God. This. You. Oh, look, an AT-AT.
Yep.
An AT-AT, if you will.
Yep.
I don't know what the proper terminology is. Racetracks and these are going on my fridge. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
I looked.
I'm gonna go ask my mother for pictures of me disappointed on Christmas morning and share it with you.
I looked high and low for pictures of me playing with the flag, but apparently the flag was not favored enough to deem photo worthy.
Again, had it, didn't even like it. Meanwhile, the rest of us are like, ugh, never mind. That's great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thought you might like that.
I appreciate that.
Where's my gift?
I am the gift.
You bastard!
I'm not done shopping, dude. This, to be honest with you, it has not even registered to me in that it is Christmas time. It's so weird. I think it's. I attribute it to me getting older. I just don't realize what day it is anymore.
Yeah, I just attribute that to mandatory overtime, but
that too. But at least you're on top of the holidays.
Yeah, that's true. That being said, sir, how was your week?
Good. So I gotta get this out of the way. If I sound flustered or anything today, I gotta tell you, I'm feeling real weird today. And I attribute it to an empty stomach. I didn't eat anything yesterday after like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 2:30. And played a show with The Long Cold Dark, and it was great. And had a few beers on an empty stomach, and they hit me kind of hard and fast, and I didn't expect that. So went to bed when I got home, and woke up this morning, and the first thing I have to do in the morning is I have to take my thyroid medicine on an empty stomach. It's like, you got to do it every day. So the thyroid medicine, usually doesn't have an effect on me at all.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason today, the thyroid medicine plus 2 cups of coffee, I'm like...
You're a little shaky.
I'm shaking right now. I don't get this way normally, but I'm friggin' jittery.
You want to like go have a Snickers or something?
No,
and feel normal.
No,
we can wait.
I thought you said you want to go have a cigarette. I'm like, that might help, but yeah, I'm.
You gonna be all right? You gonna make it through the show?
Yeah, I'll make it, but it's man, it's funky. I'll tell you that. So anyway, the week was fine, uneventful, and that's a good thing. So not a lot of consequence has occurred this week.
Cool.
So that's well, one thing of consequence happened yesterday.
Yes,
which is going to
be the bulk of the show.
Yes, that's correct. Spoiler alert: there will be no Luke Cage discussion today.
Yeah, and spoiler alert: there will be spoilers.
Oh yeah. There's going to be a lot of spoilers. How about you? Week mandatory overtime sounds
mandatory
like it's
overtime,
a bummer.
Only 3-day work week this week because I had Thursday and Friday off.
There you go.
Took them off for my birthday.
It was your birthday.
It was. I'm now 39.
Oh, chin up, son.
So old. So old.
You're young at heart.
Yeah. So,
it means nothing to me.
So Thursday, Monday I brought in my holiday decorations for my desk place of work, which consist of a Charlie Brown Christmas tree, a little bobblehead of Darth Vader with a Santa cape on and a Santa hat on, holding a present. It's adorable.
The present is he chokes you.
Wait for it.
Yeah.
We'll get there. And then a holiday Groot Funko Pop.
See, that's festive.
That my wife got me last Christmas. And so I brought that in. My mom made a plate of cookies for the team at work. So I brought that in.
We also benefited from Mom's cookies.
Yeah, Mom does a lot of cookies.
That's okay. We're enjoying them.
Well
so
over 1,000.
That's madness.
of these. Yeah. So that pretty much was the work short week, as it were. Thursday was my actual birthday. So I spent the bulk of the day shopping for Julie for her Christmas presents.
No spoilers now.
On my birthday, I shopped for Julie.
That's
That's the quality husband I am.
I was going to say.
Yeah, and then yesterday we went and saw a particular movie. And then she took me out for birthday dinner at Eastern Pearl, my favorite Chinese place.
All right.
They have the best General Tso's chicken. It's tasty and crunchy and just... I shouldn't say crunchy, I should say crispy.
Sure. Where is this location?
It's on Maple. Remember where the old Time Warner offices are? That little
No.
strip?
I don't.
It's on Maple.
Okay.
It's fantastic.
All right.
So yeah, and we got home,
It was also the wife's birthday. I took her out to Black Sheep on Connecticut Street.
Yes, it was Jen's birthday was the 13th.
13th.
And Alan's birthday is coming up soon.
Oh, boy.
Too, isn't it?
Alan's mad that I don't know when his birthday is. But I rely on Facebook for birthdays, so much like everyone else, I don't know phone numbers and I don't know birthdays. My phone takes care of all that for me now.
Yeah, I only know one person's phone number, and surprisingly enough, it's not Julie.
I know my grandmother's phone number, and that's all. Because I've been dialing it since I was 3.
Let's see if Facebook will cue us to when Alan's birthday is. It's tomorrow.
Ah!
Wait.
No.
What's the date today?
The 17th.
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Happy birthday, Alan. By the time you hear this, it will be your birthday. It will have passed.
By the time you hear this, your birthday will be long over, and no one will care.
We care.
We do care.
We care.
We do. We love Alan. So yeah, that was the week. Relatively uneventful. I think we'll kind of change the order here a little bit.
Mix it up, sir.
Since we have very little, if any, news to discuss. Really, all we got that I can think of is they announced that they're going to do a Gotham City Sirens film. We'll fast forward to the end of that discussion. Carl is optimistic. Drew doesn't care. Is there what?
No,
what is wrong with that? That's exactly what a 5-10 minute conversation would end up being.
I might have thoughts about it.
Go ahead, shoot your thought about it.
I would be shocked if it actually happens.
I would be somewhat shocked too.
And unfortunately, that's my reaction to every DC film announcement. Like, I will be shocked if it actually happens.
Well, I think it's safe to say that like Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Justice League.
We know those are happening.
Yeah,
but like the spinoff of Suicide Squad, like really? Okay. I heard that they're going to make a potential Deadshot spinoff as well, possibly.
Well, if you got Will Smith,
that's somewhat bankable. We'll see. I don't know. I'm very cynical about all that. So,
yeah.
Let me know when Harley Quinn gets an actual costume and they don't, rely on teenage boys to go see the movie because of booty shorts. Because that's Harley Quinn that I grew up with. Thanks, Warners.
And on my birthday, Nintendo gave me a little gift. They gave us a Super Mario Run.
How is Super Mario Run?
It's a side-scrolling Mario game. The only thing that's different from this than from say a console game is that you don't control Mario's walking.
He's always running, right?
He's always running.
Hence the name.
Yes, and you just control his jumping.
Okay. Heard it's good. I wouldn't know.
Fun.
It's only on iPhone, and I wouldn't buy a mobile game anyway. So
I'll let you take a test drive after we get done recording.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. That's a thing, and it's out there.
Yeah.
Apparently, Nintendo sold like 200,000 of those mini NESs in the month of November.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They would have sold more if they could have supplied them, but apparently that's a problem. So
there's something we could talk about. Two things actually. First, I saw a news article. I'm not sure if it's true or not that the mini NES has sold more in 4 weeks than the Wii U sold in 6 months.
That's correct.
It's not.
what are you going to do, man? They stopped making games for the Wii U. So what's the draw, you know?
So
that's unfortunate, but...
And also there's that thing I sent to you and Alan yesterday, that SNK, former developers from SNK...
Of King of Fighters fame.
Of King of Fighters and Samurai Showdown are making a new fighting game called Unholy Knight, KNIGHT, for not the PlayStation 4, not the Xbox One, not for Steam, but it's going to be a cartridge for the Super Nintendo.
Okay. Sure.
That's kind of cool.
I'm fine with that.
And it's going to get like a full-blown physical release and everything. Are you going to purchase it?
I'd have to play it first. I don't know.
I don't really think they're going to send out demo cartridges.
Probably not. So I guess that's a risky buy, I guess.
I don't know. It's just good pedigree.
Definitely good pedigree.
It's not like the marketplace is swamped with new Super Nintendo games.
No, but it should be. If you really think about it, it should be.
You'd probably be surprised to hear that. I think that pound for pound, the Super NES is probably the all-time best
console. I think you know that I feel that way. It definitely had all the heavy hitters. Pound for pound, game for game. Its library is like unrivaled. It's insane. But ironically enough, I'm playing Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past on Super Nintendo right now. So I'm at Turtle Rock right now, and it's the 7th dungeon for those who don't know on the Dark World. And I've gone this far, and it's funny because I've really taken. I'm really doing my due diligence this time around, and I'm trying to get every single heart piece in the game. And for whatever reason, I have more heart pieces than I've ever had in my years of playing this game this time, which is, weird, but I'm okay with that. Ironically, though, in doing so, I have forgotten to get the 4th bottle and the tempered sword, which is the 3rd sword upgrade. And I'm this late in the game, and I don't have those things yet, and it's kind of like I'm going to go get them now because I remembered that I have to get them. But it's like, well, it's a little late now. I mean, I'm already near the end here. That's a video game thing that bugs me, and it's not Zelda's fault necessarily because I didn't explore enough to find those things.
Yeah.
But some games that do that, where they give you like you get your final upgrade or you get your full power thing at the very, 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 very end of the game. To me, that's kind of cheap. Like if I get this really sweet, powerful upgrade, I'd like some time to run around and use it and lay waste, and then finish the game. Later.
Yeah.
But when you get like the final item in the final dungeon or something like that, or against the final boss, and then it's over, that's kind of a bummer.
Fun with it.
Yeah.
Sort of like when you choose to get the Ragnarok sword in Final Fantasy Tactics.
I never played Tactics.
You never played Tactics? Sir, you are missing out.
I know. I know people that love Tactics. I never played it.
Tactics is fantastic.
From the heyday of Square.
Yes.
Anyway, little aside about video game design,
right,
as I see it.
Would it surprise you to hear I've only ever played 2 Zelda games before?
A little bit. Which 2?
Zelda 2.
Oh, hard one. Very hard.
And Wind Waker.
Okay.
And Wind Waker I didn't even finish.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
The ending is fantastic in that
I've
game.
been thinking of picking up the HD remake.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's dirt cheap now.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for news. I can't.
Yeah, I think that's everything. Everyone's kind of in a lull until after the holidays.
Yep.
But not us.
Not us.
We're here.
We continue to produce for you, the listener, because we love you. That being said, batter up. Time for Game 5.
Game 5.
Of the cross-examination listener questions World Series between Mr. Alan Waiters and Mr. J. Gelsomino. The series is knotted up 2 games apiece.
All right.
Now, I just want to put a disclaimer out there because I think some of you may be thinking, oh, it's going to go 7 because you guys want to drag it out.
Not necessarily.
No. These have been legitimate decisions, legitimate contests, and it just happens to be, knotted to. Drew thinks it's going to go the whole 7. I think it's going to end in 6.
Ooh.
Which makes this game pivotal and makes it a what, Drew? Must win.
Every game's a must win. It is
Yes.
the finals. Every game's a must win.
Okay, so who led off last week?
I don't know. I don't remember. I think Alan led off last week.
Okay.
I think.
All right. I mean, it doesn't really matter.
There's no home
Actually-
ice advantage here, so it's
Yeah. Actually, now that... Yeah, Alan did lead. Okay, now that I'm looking at the questions, Alan did lead off last week. All
Hashtag
right.
show prep.
Yep. So,
Yes.
from Mr. J. Gelsomino,
Yes.
question first, both.
Okay.
Your podcasting host dies in a tragic autoerotic asphyxiation accident. Air quotes.
Well, me and David
Accident.
Carradine do have the same initials, so.
Who would you rather continue with? The problem is the co-host wants to change to their own format, and you cannot quit due to lucrative podcasting sponsorship deals with Loot Crate, Harry's, Onnit, and the TrueCar app.
Don't forget MeUndies.
MeUndies, Casper mattress. By the way, if any of these fine products would
we'll-
like to sponsor the Devil's
We
Due,
will shill, sir.
So yeah, these are our options for who you would want to continue on. This is the new podcast you would have to do.
This is for both of us?
Yes.
Okay.
So if either you died or I died in a questionable accident,
Okay.
who would you want to carry on with?
All right.
A Slice of Life. Kitchen Tips with Orenthal James Simpson. Spikes and Sweaters. Tackling the New Age dating scene with Bill Cosby.
Oh, boy.
Huh? Question mark. Contemporary Music Talk with Lou Ferrigno. That's a great title.
Oh, God. Oh.
Business Ethics. How to Run a Successful Comedy Club with John Lovitz.
That's a good one.
Omni Comics Podcast 2. Comics and Pop Culture Talk with Ann Coulter.
Oh, God.
I'll let you proceed
Oh.
there.
Well, this is for both of us, though. So
Yes. Do you want to see the list?
I'm going to have to say I would like to do the OJ podcast.
Keep it Buffalo centric.
Sure. You got to figure he has to do it from prison. So I'm safe. He'll Skype in. I don't got to worry about
Yeah.
encounters.
Yeah.
And not for nothing, but I would imagine he's pretty knowledgeable on the subject matter.
Okay.
So the man probably knows his way around a knife. Allegedly.
According to a civil court, he does.
Yes, that's correct. How about you?
I'm going to do the business ethics. How to run a successful comedy club with John Lovitz.
Have fun with that.
Because,
Money.
business practices may be questionable, but he's still funny.
He's still a funny man. However much jerk he might be.
Yes. Drew,
Yeah.
you are given the reins to the next G.I. Joe movie.
Oh, yes. What I would give.
You actually have to keep the continuity from the previous cinematic endeavors.
Okay. All right.
Where do you go from here?
Well, they already granted my wish and killed off Channing Tatum. So, good. Duke is out of there.
Did you see a corpse? I didn't see a corpse.
Okay, I'll tell you what. In the opening of my film, you'll see his corpse. His rotting, bloated corpse. I'm trying to remember.
Do you bring back Dennis Quaid?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
To me, honestly, that's good casting. It wasn't the casting that I had a problem with. Dennis Quaid as General Hawk that's solid. He's older. He's grizzled.
Kurt Russell.
Look, in my perfect world, yeah, Kurt Russell would be Hawk for sure. But I'll take Dennis Quaid. We'll bring him back. Did Cobra Commander escape at the end of Retaliation? I think he did, didn't he?
Think so.
Okay, so he's still good. He's still out there. Oh, and didn't Destro or Storm Shadow? I don't remember.
Destro was not released from prison. in the second one.
Oh, okay. Here's where I'd go. That's good. That's good. Well, I'm gonna for one thing, I'm gonna take all of the good things about Retaliation and double down on them. So
More Hiss tanks.
yes, more Hiss tanks. Sky Strikers are coming in.
More Cobra Commander.
More Cobra Commander.
More Zartan.
Definitely more Zartan. Oh, didn't they leave it off where he was like the president or something? Or was that the
No,
first
that
stupid
was the
movie?
first one.
Oh, yeah, okay. Did they pay that off? I don't remember.
Yeah, he was the president throughout the second film.
That's right. See, I don't remember these things. Okay, so more realistic, more military, more gritty action, more Cobra Commander. Destro, though, has to escape. And we're not going to CGI his stupid mask like they did in the movie. We're going to have a real mask, real Iron Mask. I might recast him. I've maintained for a while now that the guy who played Top Dollar in The Crow should definitely be my Destro. That voice is too good to waste. So we're recasting. And dare I say? Oh, I dare.
Tiger Force?
No. We're going to do the Cobra Civil War.
Ooh.
And that means we're bringing in Serpentor.
Ooh.
So we're going to need Dr. Mindbender here. We're going to need some kind of scientist. We can do this. And, yeah, the Cobra Civil War begins. Serpentor comes in. Your conclusion is going to be... There's going to be sort of a the enemy of my enemy is my friend situation going on where G.I. Joe has to intervene into the Cobra Civil War. And they got to kind of choose a side a little bit. So there's going to be some assistance almost between G.I. Joe and Cobra to take out Serpentor, who's the more evil between Cobra Commander and Serpentor. Serpentor is the more evil. And spoilers, in the end, there will be a final confrontation between Cobra Commander and Serpentor, and Cobra Commander is going to win.
Cobra Law.
No Cobra La. Not canon.
Cobra La 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 La.
Oh, also, well, on that note, though, now that you mentioned that, I will open the third film with a new rendition of the G.I. Joe the movie intro song. Because that was legit.
Can you open it with a new rendition of the G.I. Joe the movie opening scene?
Exactly. That's exactly what I mean. The whole thing. The Statue of Liberty, the jetpacks, all of that. We're doing that. Cobra. Yes. That song was awesome.
Will Don Johnson be involved?
Sure. Why not?
Okay.
Why not?
Okay.
Oh, and Bruce Willis won't be involved.
Okay. All right. Here's my question.
Okay. Carl, do you want to watch Wrestle Kingdom 11 with us? We'd love to have you January 4th, 2017.
Sure.
Okay. Yes. Good.
It's very kind of you, Jay.
Yep.
Appreciate it. That might hurt you in the contest, though. Not going to lie.
I like it's a good question. And it's courteous. And it's apropos because it's Kenny Omega.
Yeah, that's true.
You're going to get to witness Kenny's ascension.
Hopefully.
I hope.
Okay. On to Mr. Alan Waiters.
A-dub.
He starts out, happy birthday, Carl. Thank you, Alan. Appreciate it. Happy birthday again to you, too.
Birthday boys.
Now on to business. Carl and Drew, would you consider yourself a board game aficionado? What is your favorite board game you've played so far? And what game do you wish to play that you haven't?
I am not the board game aficionado that Alan Waiters is.
No.
But I do enjoy playing games with Alan Waiters.
Yes.
And my favorite game to play? I don't know. I like a lot of them. We have so many. I do enjoy, as silly as it is and as simple as it is, it's not a complex game, but King of Tokyo is super fun. The mutations are fun.
Yep.
Rolling dice is always a good time. I like rolling dice. Dice games are fun for me for some reason.
Your dice rolling is legendary.
Yeah. Legendary. Ooh.
You take so freaking long
To roll dice?
to roll dice.
You got to make sure you get them a good roll. If you just pick them up and drop them down again, your odds of actually getting a good mix are lessened.
Okay.
Trust me.
All right.
I do this a lot.
Sure.
But then again, Marvel Legendary is also a very fun game. Even when you're losing, like we do often to Apocalypse. Game I would like to play that I have not played. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know, so I couldn't really tell you. I rely on Alan for these things.
True.
Oh, you know what? That's not true. I have not played the Ghostbusters game, but I would like to.
Alrighty. I am by no means a board game aficionado. I'm just kind of getting into it now. Alan and another friend of mine, Adam, are kind of the drug pushers of this.
Just a taste
of this particular addiction. But yeah, it's fun. I love the renaissance that designer board games are going through. We're not talking about things like Monopoly and Chutes and Ladders and things like that.
No.
Think like, Settlers of Catan.
Yep.
Designer board games.
Is that what they are? Designer?
I think that's the name for them. I'm not sure. But the favorite one I've played so far, I really, really enjoy Islebound.
Okay.
Because I've gotten to play it a couple times since that first night we played it. As much as I love board games, learning them is somewhat of a chore, and I'm terrible at explaining them.
Yeah.
So I think if we give Islebound another shot, you guys will really enjoy it, because I'm very comfortable with explaining it now.
Okay.
As far as anything I want to play, pretty much the guy who designed Islebound, Ryan Lockett, is got a bunch of games out, so I'd be willing to play anything he's done.
Okay.
So yeah.
Cool.
That's our combo question. Drew.
Yes.
JRPGs were top-notch games in the 90s
Yes.
to the early 2000s. What do you think contributed to their decline?
I think money. Money and cultural changes happened. So in the 90s, I think the generation that grew up playing them, Americans specifically, and outside of Japan, I should say, so Europe as well.
We should probably give a brief explanation as to what a JRPG is for the uninitiated.
It
stands for Japanese
role-playing game.
Video game.
Yeah.
It's what's called turn-based.
Usually turn-based, yep.
You pick your character, you select the action they're going to do, and then they do it. Examples are,
Final Fantasy, obviously.
Fantasy games 7, 8, 9. Not so much anymore, but Phantasy Star, Dragon Quest. Yeah.
Yep. So I think what happened was you had a generation that grew up with like the NES, the Atari, the NES, Genesis. It was a small, compared to today's numbers, smaller install bases, but very, very, very rabid and enthusiastic fans. I wouldn't say nearly as casual as things are today, because you have casual Xbox owners, casual PlayStation owners. They buy one game a year maybe, and that's all they really do. And the Japanese aesthetic, or the Japanese RPG style, I guess, I think another thing that's happened is, I got to frame all this. Let me reset a little bit here. So you had a very enthusiastic base that was way into these game consoles that came from Japan. We were very receptive to whatever they were going to put out, and generally we gave it the benefit of the doubt. We were a very trusting breed back then, because you kind of had to be, because there were no internet to tell you how good or bad a game was. You had to rent it and roll the dice. So the game generally had better be good.
Yeah.
And the ones that weren't, were legendary for being terrible. But in any case, another thing that contributed to that is graphics limitations and sound limitations. So games back then forced you to use your imagination a lot. Now I'm getting into some like real heady game theory kind of stuff, but I believe this. As a result of you having to use your imagination and read, it made the games a little more your own. You imagined voices and characteristics, and you had to kind of imagine how things looked, what they would look like in reality when you had little chibi sprites, in Final Fantasy's case. They know that they weren't supposed to look like that. That's a representation of what they, finger quotes, really looked like. So you had to engage a little bit. So as a result, you become more engaged, and you are more in tune with the game. And I'm not going to say you enjoy it more because of that, but I think you kind of do. It puts you more into it. You get more involved. So by extension, a lot of the Japanese-ness this is where the cultural differences come into play. A lot of those cultural differences weren't necessarily overt because you imagined a lot of... Your mind filled in the blanks for a lot of things.
Yeah.
As graphics and sound now are basically limitless, there are no more limitations, and now you're seeing the cultural differences really, really stand out. So Japanese tropes and styles and dialogue and scripts and things like that, the differences between East and West are very apparent, and I think Western audiences are not as receptive to it. The cultural gap is wide, and I think we just don't buy it anymore. So that's my own reason for JRPGs kind of being nowadays. I think they might still be great in Japan.
Yeah.
But their presentation now has kind of left a lot of us cold. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I think it's a sound theory. Okay. My question.
Sorry to go on a long-winded rant there.
No. It was a good answer. It's a good question. My question is, who is the greatest... And this question is unfortunately kind of timely.
Should I read it to you?
If you'd like.
Okay. Carl. Oh, topical.
Yeah.
Who is the greatest 80s sitcom dad?
We just lost Alan Thicke this week.
I know. Terrible. Why couldn't they take Robin?
Yeah. Yeah. This is tough. I'm trying to think, because I wasn't huge into...
You weren't a TGIF guy?
No.
Oh.
I wasn't.
Wow.
Sorry.
Okay. It's okay.
Most of the sitcoms I gleamed to were Night Court and Cheers.
No kids on those shows.
Not as much.
No.
I'm gonna have to go with, mainly because of his association with the Die Hard films. I'm gonna have to go with Mr. Carl Winslow.
Carl Winslow's a good dude.
He's a good dad. He put up with a lot.
Yeah.
He never shot Urkel.
And he could have. He had a gun.
That goes a long way. So I'm going to say Carl Winslow.
That's good. That's a good answer.
All
good
right.
answer. I would. Not that it's my question, but yeah, that's solid. Danny Tanner. No.
He's
widow, 3 kids.
Yeah,
it's tough, man.
It is tough.
Tough.
We
got a raw deal.
The wife and I are currently watching Fuller House.
Fuller House, huh?
Yeah.
How's that working out? You're searching for words.
It has some really funny parts where it's totally aware of itself.
Okay.
And it cracks you up because, famously, the Olsen twins are not on the show.
Yes,
they continuously decline.
They're too busy with billionaires now,
and they had a Thanksgiving episode, and DJ is saying grace and saying that they hope that next year they can have the whole family together. And there's just a cutaway shot of John Stamos just turns to the camera, looks right at the audience, goes, "Come, it'll be fun."
That's great.
And so it's little moments like that that really
like that.
make the
That's
series.
Clever.
So yeah, it's not, if you have 90s nostalgia, it's not a horrible watch at all.
Okay. When can we get the Who's the Boss reunion going on? That's what I want to know.
Hey, Angela.
Tony.
Greedy and lazy.
Whoa.
I morphed.
He turned into Stallone. Oh, man.
All right. I got to give it to Alan this week. I got to give it to I'm sorry. I got to give it to Alan. I appreciate Jay's invitation. It's very thoughtful, and I hope to be able to make that event, although if I'm giving it to Alan, that invitation may be rescinded.
Oof.
But this is a competition, sir. You could attack that invitation on to the end of after the question. You got to bring, especially now with it tied 2-2 and this being the vital must-win game 5, you've got to come with your A game. Kindness is not going to get you a W here. So my vote's for Alan.
Based on the grounds that you just set up, I guess I would have to give it to Alan. But in my heart, in the dark recesses
this
of my
ain't
heart.
the Care Bears, Drew. The hard power ain't going to do nothing for you.
Fair enough. Yeah, Alan takes this week.
Oh, vital. 3-2 lead for Mr. Alan Waiters.
It's okay. I have faith that Jay can win back-to-back.
Well, I think we can safely say now that next week is a must-win for both Alan and Jay.
More so for Jay, but yeah.
Yes. Stands on the verge of elimination.
Okay.
All right, so folks,
There
if you would like to send us any questions, if you would like to join in on the fun, send us any comments, suggestions for the show, you can do so at the following locations in the internets. You can find us on Twitter at Devils Do Pod. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/DevilsDoPod. You can email us at thedevilsdopod@gmail.com. And you can find all these great resources on our website, thedevilsdopodcast.com.
Boom.
That being said, Drew,
Yeah.
let's talk some Star Wars.
Let's.
Yeah,
So-
spoil. Okay, all right. Get at this point here before we get started. Spoilers.
Yeah, if
you
you-
have not seen Star Wars Rogue One, stop listening to this episode right now.
Or if you
you're
just
a
don't care.
lifelong Star Wars fan like we are and have affection for this story and these characters, stop listening right now. If you haven't seen the film, go see the film and then pick this episode right
Yeah.
now. Because spoilers.
Yeah.
You have been warned.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
We're gonna go all over this, so no stone will be unturned. Well, it depends, but we're gonna spoil the hell out of it. So, having said that, if you haven't turned this off yet, shame on you.
Spoilers.
This is the last time we're gonna say it. Star Wars Rogue One.
It was terrible.
Listen to you.
It was so bad.
Don't tease people
Slightly
like that.
better than the Phantom Menace.
Oh my God! Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm the negative one. How'd you really feel, Carl?
Oh, God, I loved it.
Okay.
Loved it.
Okay.
It
Don't
is-
toy with emotions like that. Talking about Star Wars, for God's sake.
It is in the top 3 Star Wars films conversation.
I loved it as well. I have a minor gripe with it. I have only one. Well,
I have
maybe,
a couple little minor
I got a
gripes
couple
with
minor gripes, but my only one that I want to get out of the way up front. It could have done a better job in presenting the characters' names. I don't know the name of the blind guy and the guy with the big gun. I don't know their names.
I refer to the blind guy as Chiwetel Ejiofor because that's close as I can get to actually remembering his name. Or we'll simply call him Star Wars Daredevil.
Maybe we could look it up for the sake of the discussion today. But
I don't know. For our show, I think it's best just to call him Star Wars Daredevil.
Sure, why not?
And we'll for the other guy, we'll just call him Star Wars Cable.
Also Star Wars Jesse Ventura, maybe.
No, Star Wars Cable. Because the gun looked very Liefeldian.
But I thought it was more akin to the chain gun that
Star Wars Cable.
Star Wars. Okay, fine, fair enough. That's my only gripe. I didn't know their names, and I wish the movie did a better job at telling me their names because they were two of the best characters in the movie.
Okay, so Star Wars Cable's character's name was Baz Mabius.
Baz, okay.
And Star Wars Daredevil's name was Chirrut Inui.
Chirrut?
Chirrut.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
So that's my gripe. These characters' names should have been either easier or more common, or at least said a few times in the movie so I know who they were.
Yeah, beyond Jin, Andor, K2SO.
Those are the 3. That's all I know.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if Forrest Whitaker was Saul or Saw.
Saw.
It's
S-A-W.
Saw.
Yep.
I thought it was Saul.
Yep.
I for some reason I got him and Bob Odenkirk mixed up, I guess. Yes, it's great. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Can
really
I?
awesome.
So, if you think that this is going to be a lighthearted affair and a fun for the whole family kind of flick, no, not really.
This. A couple episodes ago, we mentioned that Kathleen Kennedy came out and said, despite the financial success of Rogue One, there will not be a sequel. There will not be a Rogue 2.
Well, I wonder why that could be.
We know why, because this was a suicide mission, and everybody's dead.
Everybody dies. Spoilers.
Now, I'm an easy cry.
Okay.
I've said this numerous times before. It's very easy to tug on my emotional heartstrings and get me to roll some tears at a film.
Yeah.
I didn't have that in this film.
Nor I.
Not because I didn't enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I love this movie.
Yeah.
I definitely want to go see it again. But it wasn't like in Force Awakens when Han was killed. And it's a character that I've grown up with my entire life.
Sure.
A character who has been there for me in the hardest points of my life. I've been able to kind of turn and enter that world, and that character's there. It's not like that because we don't have that history with these characters, and we just don't have enough time to get... There's so much stuff that has to be done in the movie.
Yeah.
And we don't have the time to really get to know the characters enough to... I don't want to say mourn their passing, but it's not like you... Once the first character goes down, you kind of get the feeling that everybody's going to go down.
I thought it could have went either way. But I guess in the end, no. I thought Jyn might make it out. Her and Andor might find a way. But then as they walked towards the beach and the mushroom cloud was expanding toward them, like, nope, they're not leaving.
Nope.
They're done. Or maybe Bodhi, because he was on a ship, so he might have been able to escape.
Bodhi, I knew from the trailer was going to die.
Okay.
Because they always that very sullen shot of him in the trailer. I was like, oh, he's dead.
All right.
He's dead. And you know what? What I really liked in how they handled the death of these characters, it felt very like End of Saving Private Ryan.
Okay.
Where like Bodhi doesn't have this huge like emotional death scene.
No, not a lot of fanfare for some of these deaths. They just happen.
Yeah, like a stormtrooper chucked a thermal detonator in the ship.
Yep.
Boom, that was it. Bodhi's gone. Like Chewett and Baz,
Zaz blaming Mataz.
They had kind of more of an emotional departure.
Yeah, their deaths were handled with some a little more depth, a little more care, I guess. But I feel you. They were very. This is war. This movie.
This is a war movie.
This movie puts the war in Star Wars,
yes. And
more than the others ever did.
Yes, and we get to see in this film that the Rebel Alliance is not the cadre of plucky do-gooding heroes.
Not necessarily, no.
That we have come to know in previous films.
No,
these
they
are
get their hands
guys who
dirty.
make harsh wartime decisions.
Yep.
That cost lives and decisions they regret as people.
Andor, specifically.
Yes.
Dude, in the
Andor,
beginning, he shot his friend.
You get to know right away that this is not a likable person. This
Not
is a person
necessarily,
who
no.
is doing what he feels is necessary for the Alliance.
Yep. Whatever it
And
takes for the rebellion to succeed.
Not only does he shoot an ally, he shoots him in the back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, and then at the end, the band that kind of goes to Scarif is, like Andor said, there are people who've made those tough decisions and like harsh decisions to do harsh things.
It should be noted that the Rogue One mission was not a rebel approved mission.
Yeah.
They took it upon themselves to go and steal the Death Star plan.
This is the mission that you can almost say unites the Alliance.
Yes.
Because as we see throughout this film,
They're kind of fractured.
the Alliance is still forming.
Yeah.
Which begs the question is like, okay, we saw... I'm wondering what the time frame is in years in between the end of Episode 3 and this.
What is Episode 3?
Come on. It's the story's out there. You got to acknowledge it.
I no, I'm sorry. I'm going to guess it's roughly 20 years because that's about how old Luke was. And then, spoiler alert, Rogue One takes place like the day before A New Hope.
Yeah. It's
literally.
Yeah. What? Another thing.
Okay.
A lot of scenes from the trailers didn't make the film.
Really? I see. You know me. I did the media shutdown thing.
But no, this is all stuff you would have seen.
Okay.
And this is not uncommon every once in a while for when you see a trailer and there's a particular scene that sticks out, and then it ends up
you know
not being
what
in the
I'm
film.
thinking of right now?
3 key scenes from trailers were not in the film. Jin on the walkway and the TIE
Fighter.
pops
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
That doesn't
not in the
pop
movie.
up. Director Krennic
Yes.
on the beach walking through the water with the kid. Not in the film. And the big scene. This is a rebellion, isn't it? I rebel.
Yeah, that wasn't in there either.
Not in the film.
Interesting.
So, and by no means do any of these absences detract.
Not at all
from the film.
I forgot about them. So,
I just thought it was interesting that, like, especially the I rebel, because that was like the.
Can we? So, do you think that has anything to do with the reshoots? Or,
Probably.
And do you think it matters?
No. I don't
For
think
all the
it's just-
controversy about those reshoots, do you think the movie suffered?
Reshoots, not all. Reshoots are part of normal
I
production.
agree. I think they were. I think the hubbubaloo about that was way overblown.
Yeah. I think, like, the reason you heard about these reshoots is because the Suicide Squad reshoots came almost immediately after principal production stopped, which is not the case with reshoots. They usually happen a couple months afterwards after editing.
Right.
And you find that you need this here or that there that you didn't get in the original shoot. That's when you do reshoots. Whereas apparently with Suicide Squad, it was coming in and they were like, oh, we need to lighten this up a bit. We need to do reshoots now. So I think that's why we heard about the Rogue One reshoots.
Well, whatever they had to reshoot, I don't think it hey, whatever they did, it worked because it's a great movie. I thought there was a lot of clever things that happened in this movie. So, Krennic, for example. Krennic?
Yes.
Now, he's kind of forgettable. He's almost forgettable in a way. But he's just this guy who's like in charge of assembling the Death Star weapon.
He's like the Luke Skywalker of the Empire. He's very whiny.
I wouldn't say that, but he's got, he's got Donald Trumpisms, okay?
Yeah.
He's a little man who wants to feel really, really important.
Yeah.
But in fairness, he did complete the weapon systems of the Death Star, and he wants to be recognized by the Emperor for his efforts. And spoiler alert, obviously, Tarkin.
Grand Moff Tarkin.
CGI Peter Cushing.
Is in this film.
A lot, by the way.
More than he was in live Peter Cushing in the original Star Wars.
Someone should add up their seed time, because I bet you're right.
I suspected that there was going to be like maybe a scene here where there, like we saw in Ant-Man with the de-aged Michael Keaton. We saw in that god-awful Terminator reboot, Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
Like we saw in that god-awful Terminator reboot with the de-aged Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay.
I thought there would be a couple minutes here and there just to establish that.
You didn't think he was going to speak, did you?
I didn't think he was going to have a role.
Yeah, he's in the movie. He's a major player almost.
And the technology it's like you're.
It's not. It was
not
really
seamless.
Good. No,
it's not seamless. But I think the reason that's not seamless is that your brain is telling you, "Hey, this person is dead." Peter Cushing is dead in real life, so this is clearly a CG effect on the screen.
I didn't think to ask Jen if what she thought about that, because I don't think she knows Peter Cushing or that he's so
that'd be interesting to see.
I'm very curious, but dude. He's like he's got lines. He's got a whole little subplot. He's like Krennic's villain.
Exactly.
The villain has a villain. Because Tarkin wants to take the whole credit for the whole damn thing, and he does, by the way.
And Krennic is like he is putting on Krennic these security leaks that are getting out.
Yeah.
Because the Death Star is a secret weapon. It's not, from what I gathered to this, it's not known to the Senate that the Death Star is being
they had no
created.
idea. But that was established in Episode 4. We knew that. They didn't know about it until, that's no moon. That's a space...
So, just having him there, and that was just the beginning.
Kind of.
Little... He was like the biggest cog in the works of things they were taking from Star Wars, the original Star Wars, and putting back in here. The end battle.
Oh, dude, that whole
gold leader, red leader, they're
the guys
straight up.
They used footage from the original movie and they put them in.
Not only footage, but they manipulated with like CG and stuff. The guy who plays Red Leader, I know, has passed away. The guy who played Gold Leader is still alive, so I'm sure he like voiced his lines and whatnot.
Okay.
But they put him in there. They took like 30 seconds.
Did you see Biggs Darklighter in there too?
Yes.
Yeah.
They took 30 seconds to explain why Luke Skywalker was Red 5 at the Battle of Yavin.
Because Red 5 died.
Because Red 5 apparently was an incompetent,
He went splat.
Yeah, he went splat pretty quickly.
Was I the only one that when they showed the shield around the planet thing that thought of Spaceballs? As Carl makes a face.
Oh, man. Oh, wow.
I think that's awesome. That's to me, that's hilariously awesome.
Yeah, the what's his name with Walrus Man?
Walrus Man.
And you
watch yourself. We're wanted men.
Yes.
That
shows up for like 30 seconds.
I'll be honest with you.
It just goes to establish. There are certain things that in films like this you see that clearly the film directors are doing just kind of like a nudge and a wink to the audience.
Yeah.
These things are kind of that, but at the same time, they're interwoven in the threads of the story.
I could have done without that appearance, to be honest with you.
Why?
Because that whole city gets blown up, and luckily they escaped. I guess, but that was a little. That was
they
almost
were
a
on
bridge
their way
too
to
far.
Their ship.
Fair enough. Some people, a friend of mine actually said he didn't like the C-3PO R2-D2 cameo, and I was like, well, why? It makes sense that they would be there. Like, they're with Captain Antilles and Bail Organa, and they're on Yavin, and they're formulating plans, and yada yada. I got a little emotional when I saw friggin' Leia.
Yes, I knew they were. As soon as I saw Tarkin, I'm like, then there has to be a quick Leia.
Yeah.
And just the way they did it.
Oh, it's great.
Like 30 seconds at the end of the film. What is this that they delivered? Hope.
And it was, CGI Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, CGI de-aged Carrie Fisher. I'm sure it was like Carrie Fisher doing,
I don't know, man.
A single line.
Maybe. I don't know. But, that was, I got like chills. I was like, whoa. Because it's so, I'm tied to this franchise back to childhood. So the way they set that up was just brilliant. And we haven't even gotten into the big Mamma Jamma yet, so I want to put that off a little bit. So the body count in this movie is high.
Yes.
But, okay, I want to say this about this movie because it's been on my mind. All the things that we're talking about with Tarkin and the Death Star and all that, and the aesthetic. Oh, God, the aesthetic is gorgeous. This is the best looking Star Wars movie probably ever. Yeah. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah. We get locations we've never seen in a Star Wars film before.
So this is what I want to talk about. So, in my opinion, as I was watching the movie, before any of the nostalgia-fueled stuff happens, just watching the movie, probably a good hour in, even though it's a slow burn for that first hour, my thought was, this movie is delivering on the promise of the original movie in a way that no other Star Wars movie has. What I mean by that is that first original Star Wars movie was so new and so mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And as a kid, you understand, or you read in the crawl that it's a galaxy, it's this big, epic, sprawling place. And in this big, giant epic in these movies, we get, an ice planet and the forest planet, whatever.
Yeah.
But we're centered on,
We're
3 or 4 principal
in the
characters.
Desert.
Yeah, that too. But we're centered on a small group of people, and generally, it feels a little small. But you see, in the original movies, you saw things that sparked your imagination and go like, well, what? I wonder what that is over there.
Yeah.
I wonder what could be going on over there. This movie, Rogue One, delivers all that. You see new locations through different characters' eyes, like cities and locales in the Star Wars universe, like that are alive, and there's they're living places. Like in the beginning with Andor, whatever, where were they? He was on some mining colony or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
But it was like this. It was like a city. It was like a real place.
Yeah. And
there were stormtroopers in the streets, kind of walking around, enforcing curfew, and it felt real. It felt like a place. Jeddah, that place, it felt like a real, like a place with history that existed.
Especially when you see the statue, the fallen statue covered by the sand.
Oh, dude, I'm glad you. Yes. Okay, that too. Okay, so like again, this movie like delivered my childhood imagination. It literally made it real. You know, and more so than any other Star Wars movie. I'm really blown away by that. Kyber crystals. That's a deep pull for a Star Wars. Like I know fans that are into like the TV shows or the books and the comics and all that. Maybe they shrug off that mention. That's never mentioned. They've never said that in a Star Wars film before. Kyber crystals, dude. Are you kidding me? That's what powers the lightsabers.
Yeah.
And that's what powers the Death Star.
Yeah, that was
the weapon. That is.
Yeah, that was interesting to see.
And
that like it turns out the Death Star laser is essentially just a big lightsaber,
kind of. And this is pretty heavy. And I'm not a Star. Like I love Star Wars, but my fandom basically extends to the films. I don't get too deep into what used to be the expanded universe.
Yeah,
I feel like if it's really really important, it's going to be on the screen. Blind guy and Cable. I forgot their names already. Daredevil and Cable. He says that they're guardians of the Wills. Whoa.
Yeah.
Here's why that's a big deal, folks. The original, and I mean original, name of Star Wars, when George Lucas first wrote it on a cocktail napkin in 1974 or whatever the hell year it was called The Adventures of Luke Starkiller, as taken from the Journal of the Wills. That was the title. Yeah. The Journal of the Wills is like this mysterious. If you wanna, embrace Star Wars history, as it were, you could almost think of the whole saga as being relayed to someone. Like I'm telling you a story from this Journal of the whatever. So it's got a lot of that word has a lot of history.
Yeah,
and they threw it in the movie.
That's very reminiscent of Lord of the Rings, in which the Lord of the Rings tale is being told, in a lot of ways, is being told by Bilbo and Frodo as they're writing it down in like a historical accounting of what happened.
Yeah. So
it's called To There and Back Again.
Okay.
So that's, I mean, Star Wars is my all-time favorite film, and I love it, and I will argue its merits. One thing I can't really argue is that it's original, because it's just like a cobbling together of these different, film lores that Lucas grew up loving, like the traditional hero's journey, the old wizard, like even like Golden Age Hollywood stuff. You look at the Cantina in Mos Eisley. Mm-hmm. That's Rick's in Casablanca. It's exactly like this place where shadowy figures kind of gather and whatnot, and so love Star Wars. It's not original, so I can see where.
But it all comes together, though.
It does. He puts it together
but thankfully,
very well.
George is no longer involved, so I'm happy about this.
I still give the man credit for he
with the help of a lot of people that don't get credit.
For George Lucas, we would not have Star Wars.
I'll concede that. Yeah. But a lot of other people had hands on.
We would not have a lot of the film going experiences that we get to have, because a lot of things you can't take. You can take a lot of stuff away from George as it pertains to Star Wars. A lot of stuff you can't take away from George is his contributions to film technology.
No, he pushed the envelope for sure.
Like the viewing experience.
Yep, and special effects and all of that.
I'm talking about like the screens and sound.
Oh yeah, theaters. Sound especially. He revolutionized for sure. I will not take that away from the man.
That mentions something. That reminds me of something.
Yeah.
And something I also noticed when we watched Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Did you know the screen was like dim?
Yes.
And like the picture wasn't as clear as it
slightly out of focus on the left side at my theater.
Yeah. That aggravates the hell out.
Because they're not projecting film. They're projecting a digital.
But it's still a projection. Here's why it is, and this is what pisses me off, having worked at a movie theater and a projection booth. The bulbs that power these projectors are extremely expensive. Like, I think just under $1,000 a bulb.
So are they cheaping out on the bulbs?
They're not projecting at the full capacity they could be.
That's a shame.
And that pisses me off.
As
Didn't
we were
piss
talking
me off
about
as much when I got free films. Now that I
Sure.
got to pay for the stuff, it pisses me off a little bit.
as we talked about sound, can we talk about the score?
Yeah.
This movie had a better score than The Force Awakens did.
Disagree.
Oh,
Disagree.
I don't.
Because I've purchased the Force Awakens soundtrack and listened to it numerous times and then watched it again after. I would probably have to do that. The score, I found myself listening for the score in this film than I do, and more so than I do in a lot of our films, only because this is the first Star Wars film not to be scored by John Williams.
Yeah, it's just Michael Giacchino.
So it's not that the score was bad. It's just that it didn't feel like traditional Star Wars to me, but at the same time,
The movie's not traditional Star
Yeah,
Wars.
at the same time, I'm kind of okay with that because it's something new. So it took me a little while to kind of warm up to it.
Okay. I guess ultimately what I mean by it when I say I think it's better, it's I remembered themes in the movie. Whereas The Force Awakens, man, I swear I don't recall a single song from that movie outside of the intro. It was totally forgettable John Williams score in The Force Awakens. Whereas I think Rogue One's score has memorable hooks and very clever uses of familiar Star Wars music as well in spots.
Yeah.
You get a little march here and there. You
Yep.
get a little Star Wars fanfare here and there, but not overt. And it was just, and the original compositions I thought were really strong. So that's that.
Can we discuss?
We still haven't talked about the big things.
I know we'll get there.
We'll get there. I know we'll get there.
Can we discuss the genius way they explained one of the biggest gripes of the original Star Wars film
Go on.
and the weakness of the Death Star?
Yes.
And
Oh,
how
huge.
they handle
Huge.
Oh my God! Because that's always been the joke. You build this, like you see it in Robot Chicken, you see it in Family Guy, things like that.
Well-
you build this huge, gigantic space station, and yet there's this little hole that if you put something in, it's going to blow something up.
Now, hang on. I hear you. And this movie does a genius job of dealing with that. But in fairness, thematically being the key word, that weakness never bothered me because
It didn't bother me either, 'cause I
because the
love-
Empire, their whole thing
Is ego.
is they are so overconfident.
They say in Star Wars, if I remember, the defenses are designed around a large scale assault.
Right. That's why
They're
they
not
used
expecting single pilot fighters
to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but still, that in pop culture, that has always been kind of
Sure.
the joke with Star Wars, and they just explain it in such a great way. Jin's father saying, yes, they could have finished this without me, but if I'm there and I make myself indispensable, I can make sure that there is a way to defeat this.
Yes, and he did. He
Yeah.
built in a weakness in the reactor that could be destroyed
Yeah.
through the exhaust port.
Yeah. You detonate an explosion.
It's gonna set
Yeah.
the whole thing off. Thanks, Mr. Urso.
Thanks, Dad.
So Mads Mikkelsen is responsible for intentionally defecting the Death Star
Yes.
so that it could be destroyed.
And again, he's always good.
Oh, he's a good
In
actor.
Whatever he does, he's always good, and he was really great in this. He was great in Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
It's like, what a year for you, sir!
yeah.
In 2 months, you joined two of the biggest film franchises in history.
Oh, and let's not forget that his best work is yet to come in that Hideo Kojima video game.
Stop! This is Dave Joyce.
I kid. No, that was cool. That was very clever. The Death Troopers were kind of cool.
Yeah, the way they vocalized was interesting.
Yeah, those words. It was just I heard like some kind of weird other language.
Just kind of gargled.
Yeah.
I think stormtroopers being just.
Cannon fodder.
I feel bad for the stormtroopers.
They got a
this
tough
film.
gig, man.
Because they were never threatening.
No, they weren't. The
You
Death
were-
Troopers kind of were.
The Death Troopers are threatening because they're all in black.
Well, that and they seem to be more
They seem
accurate
to be
shots
precise, yeah. And the Scarif Troopers were cool looking and seemed to be a little more proficient, but your standard stormtroopers are
Yeah,
still
they're
just. I felt so bad.
Well, you know, the Empire's taking whatever they can get. Basically, they just want bodies. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Again, it's all about ego and power and size.
Well, if you go, I know you hate to do is if you go back to the prequels and you
try not
take
to.
the theory from multiplicity, where if you make a clone of a clone.
Oh, I don't think. No, I hear what you're saying, but by the original trilogy, they're not
I'm going
clones anymore.
to shoot a Wampa, Steve.
Yeah, they weren't clones anymore by that point.
Yeah, I know.
They were conscripted soldiers. The Empire, dude. Here's the thing, and I'll make this point again.
You didn't like the Empire in this movie. I'm not saying you personally. I'm saying like as a viewer, the Empire were villains.
Yeah, well, they're supposed to be.
Did not like.
They're supposed to be the villains. But can I just say, man, and this is not I've said this for years, and it's a point that gets brought up a lot, and it should get brought up. There's a reason why the original movies are in all the merchandising, in all of our pop cultural lexicon. Okay, the reason why TIE fighters and the Millennium Falcon and all that stuff, that imagery purveys, and nothing from the prequels is of that level at all. Nothing from the prequels is
the prequel
iconic.
Stuff
I
is
should
still
say,
around, but
it's not iconic.
Kind of phasing back to original trilogy stuff because that's
put it this way: all the merchandise you ever see out there is of original trilogy stuff because it's like it just is iconic. Nothing from the prequels was nearly that at all. So when I look at this movie, dude, the Imperial uniforms and the Death Star, the way it looks, just the aesthetic of it, oh my God, it's so great. It's great. It feels, it's familiar, but it's fresh.
Yeah.
I can't describe what I'm trying to say really, but it just feels right. It looks cool. It just looks super cool.
Yeah.
Like those guys in the big dome helmets and when they're firing the Death Star weapon, that's awesome.
The helmets that look really cool on top, at the bottom makes them look like they got an underbite.
Yeah, it's so cool. It just looks cool. Oh, great stuff, man. K2SO was fun.
He was great.
Fun droid. He's got. I mean, he was clearly there for the comic relief, but it worked.
Yeah.
He wasn't overly silly. He wasn't Jar Jar, that's for sure.
No. Well, he's you get Alan Tudyk, you get good people.
Yeah. He's kind of like the Batista of the movie in a way. He doesn't see sarcasm. He says whatever he wants at the moment.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't want to forget anything because it's so good.
Yeah. Just the sense, like Force Awakens brought me back a little bit to that time of childhood.
Yeah.
When the world was much less scary, much less complicated. And Force Awakens did a really good job of that.
Force Awakens set things right.
Yeah, there was still a little bit missing because it was all new.
Okay.
This fully brought me back to that time.
Okay.
Because it was revisiting that time in the story. It's fully the classic trilogy storytelling aesthetics, feel, like the battle at the end. It really brought me back to time spent with my father playing with toys.
I've seen pictures of these toys.
But that was something that I was very appreciative of the film for doing. It rekindled some memories that I had not thought of in a very long time.
I think there is a slight danger in this movie of preying on nostalgia too much. But the thing is, it's handled in such a way where it's a new story and new characters, and it flirts with stuff but it doesn't get too bogged down in, hey, not for nothing, but remember Chewbacca? Remember Reagan? It doesn't go
it's like
too far that
from
way.
The previous films that show up, it makes sense for them to show up.
Absolutely makes sense. They should, the ones that are there should be there. It wasn't Chewbacca in Episode 3 or whatever because Yoda, of course Yoda knew Chewbacca. George, buddy. Anyway, Tarkin has to be there. It's about the Death Star.
Yeah.
Tarkin has to be there. And by extension, I guess now might be a good time.
Yeah,
let's dive into
let's
this.
Get to it.
By extension, if you're going to have Tarkin there, you're going to have his I don't want to call him his lackey, but his right hand man, Darth Vader, has kind of had to be there.
Let's talk about Darth, who apparently lives in Mordor.
Dude, we saw Darth's house. And by house, I mean castle.
I'm guessing they didn't do, like, throughout the film, whenever they would travel to a new planet, they would show up on screen what the plan was. They didn't do that for that, did they? Or
no.
Did I just miss it? I'm assuming it's Mustafar.
I'm assuming it's Mustafar. And if you're Darth Vader, isn't that kind of weird? Like,
a little bit.
I got my legs and arms cut off here, but I'm going to live here now.
It just, like, when he went there, when Darth Vader got out of his milk bath.
Okay, can we talk about that real quick?
Hold on a second. Right up until the moment Darth Vader started speaking, I was like, is this where the movie's going to misstep?
Okay.
As soon as Darth Vader started speaking, I was like, nope, I'm good. I'm good. James Earl Jones, the dulcet tones.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of force choke. I'm good.
We saw in more than one way a different Darth Vader than we've ever seen before in this movie.
Yes.
So in more than one way, what I mean is we get at the end, we'll get to which we'll get to.
We get Darth Vader unleashed.
We get the Vader that we not for nothing. We get the Vader we were promised in the prequels and never got. The Vader that is terrifying.
Yeah.
The Vader that supposedly killed all the Jedi himself. That Vader.
Yeah.
We got that Vader at the end.
Yep.
But we also got this other vulnerable.
It was
like real Vader, like out of the suit in the back of the tank.
Yeah,
like that was so weird, dude.
And it was like
I never thought about that before.
Is that wound care covered on your insurance, sir?
Well, I guess
because you got to figure the extent of those wounds is going to require constant care and maintenance.
I guess in the original movies, like he had his little chamber in Empire, but I figured like that was a temporary little setup. And he had his helmet off.
The way that chamber in Empire has always been described is it's like especially pressurized so that he can live in it outside of his helmet.
Right. But I never really thought, like, does he ever take off his
suit?
I never thought. Apparently he does, and he's in the back the tank thing like that Luke was in when he got all jacked up by the Wampa. Only on a much bigger scale.
Yeah.
But wow, I did not expect to see that. And I got a little scared. When they showed him in there. I was like, oh God, is it going to be Hayden Christensen? Am I going to have to get mad at this movie? I don't want to get mad at this movie because I'm enjoying it.
Don't blame Hayden Christensen for George Lucas's sins.
Fair enough, but I got a little...
I've seen other things Hayden Christensen has been in. Dude's a good actor.
All right. I got a little nervous, but they didn't go there, thank God. Yeah. So it's okay. But that was so weird.
Yeah.
I was kind of taken aback by that they went there, showed Vader like in his natural state, if you will.
Exactly, and the conversation between him and Krennic, just it was Vader. It was our classic trilogy Vader.
Yeah, with
red eyes.
The different color lenses. Yep.
Yeah, I love that he was in the film. I love more that he was not the main villain of the film.
No. He was just there.
And, like, he made 2 appearances, especially, like, his appearance at the end. Like, holy cow, like, when you think, okay, the battle's over, the rebels are going to get to escape. Yeah, some of them do, but then Vader shows up and just, no.
Yeah. So, think back now, kids, to A New Hope. The opening scene with the Tantive 5, whatever it's called. 4, Tantive 4. Escaping, running from a Star Destroyer en route to Tatooine.
Mm-hmm.
Think of Vader strutting in. What's he looking for? He's looking for Death Star plan. What happened to those plans? What happened to those transmissions you intercepted? Well, we see how he knows that.
Yeah.
Because the transmissions came from Scarif to not Admiral Akbar's ship, Admiral, whatever his name
Yeah,
was.
I would. We can after we do
Okay.
Vader, we can discuss the absence of Admiral Ackbar.
Okay. From there to the Tantive.
Yeah,
Which
was like in Admiral not Akbar's ship.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And he just like when he shows up and he turns that lightsaber on.
Oh my God, dude. So to frame it, folks, you saw the movie, hopefully.
Lumbering
No.
Frankenstein like
No.
Vader we had in the classic trilogy. Which granted, when you look at where Western fight choreography was,
It's changed a lot. It's changed a lot.
then to where it is now.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
some people might say there's some continuity errors if you want to look at it that way as a result of this scene, but I don't care. Vader lights up that lightsaber and proceeds to tear through a rebel ship, cutting down dudes by the dozen.
Yeah.
Like just hacking them, force throwing them around.
Force choking, force slamming.
It's Vader unleashed.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. It's great.
It's
It's pretty great.
it was so awesome. It was-
Like I said, the Vader I was promised as a
Yeah.
child on the screen, and he sees them get the plans, put it on and the Tantive takes off into light speed. So the implication is, within a day or however long,
yeah.
Vader saw it go. He's on the hunt.
Yeah.
Cut to episode 4.
Like that Death
that's
Star
literally-
that Vader showed up in is the Death Star from episode 4 that is shooting at that Corellian Corvette.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh man.
Speaking of the Corvette real quick, how cool was that scene? When they take out the Star Destroyer with the ion cannon, by the way, continuity, folks.
Yeah.
Remember in Empire when they do
Yeah.
that? So they take out the Star Destroyer with the ion cannon, and they use the Corvette, another blockade runner, to push the disabled Star Destroyer
That was
into
pretty
another
cool.
one. That was pretty sweet.
That was pretty awesome. Now, again, knowing your disdain for the prequels, I did enjoy having Jimmy Smits back.
Yes.
And that quick exchange
Likewise.
between
Pains
him
me to
and-
say that.
him and Mon Mothma,
Yeah.
setting up the message that Leia will eventually bring to Obi-Wan.
So let me get this straight then. Bail Organa, it was his idea to bring in Obi-Wan.
Yes.
He tells Leia to do it. So she gets the plans, and her mission, though, was to get the plans back to Yavin or Alderaan, but first she's going to go pick up Obi-Wan directly
I think plans probably changed
once they try to bail.
once the battle happened.
Okay.
Because that probably put, I'm guessing that once the Corvette escaped,
Yeah.
the Tanev 4 escaped, their mission was to get the plans back to Yavin.
Right.
But the Star Destroyer giving pursuit is going to overtake it relatively quickly. So at that point, she changes her plan. She realizes they're by Tatooine and gives R2 the message and the plans.
Okay. All right.
So,
Yeah. So we got, I think Jimmy Smits as Bail Organa, yes, it ties into the prequels, unfortunately. In my mind, I like to ignore the prequels as much as
I
I
know
can,
you
and
do.
I think Disney does too, to be honest with you. So having him there is a direct link, but he kind of redeems it in a way because he does it. He's good. Jimmy Smits is good. I like
Yeah.
Jimmy Smits,
Jimmy Smits is great.
and he has more to do this time than he did besides just standing around like a dummy in the prequels.
Yeah. I don't have the fervent hatred for the prequels. that
You should.
many do.
You really should. It feels good.
I think the story of the prequels is okay. I just think the way the story was assembled was terrible.
You know what's ironic about this now? Technically, Rogue One is a prequel. So when we say the prequels, we kind of know what we're talking about and what we're not talking about.
We could say the Lucas prequels.
Yeah, sure. That'll work.
No Admiral Ackbar, which is kind of a disappointment.
But we got a different admiral.
Yeah,
A different Mon Calamari.
They're probably just saying, obviously that Mon Calamari ain't going to live too long once Vader gets his hand on him. Vader's having fish that night. for dinner.
Yeah.
So that probably sets up Admiral Akbar to be promoted to Admiral.
Sure. There was an opening.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see, like you said earlier, that the rebels are not quite fully aligned. Like,
no.
Saw Gerrera, right?
Yeah.
The rebels and him kind of not on the same page.
Too extreme.
Yeah.
He's taking, because when you look at, like, the rebels also need to, gain favorable public opinion.
Right.
So that they can gain support.
Yes.
Apparently Saw doesn't care about that.
Nope.
He's just going to do whatever.
Yep. As we see on Jeddah, he's just like,
yeah.
They're going to fight in the streets, and she's going to blow up stormtroopers, and he's going to attack, and he doesn't care.
Yeah. And I think this is because I think if I remember correctly in the crawl to episode 4, it says rebels have won their first major battle.
Yeah.
So I think this is the first, like, up until this point, the Rebel Alliance has just been like little skirmishes here and there.
Yep.
Things like that. More of an annoyance to the Empire than a legitimate threat.
Right.
Now
they're a threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this movie does a lot. It does a lot of work to kind of frame everything you know about Star Wars in a way.
This movie enhances
the
original trilogy so much.
It really does. It puts so much perspective on things. It's
now there's like more legitimate weight on what R2 is carrying in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Did you notice the General Dodonma? I think of
guy with the beard.
Yeah, beard, beige lab coat, whatnot. Yeah, he was in that too. It was cool.
The guy he calls her Princess Leia. That guy.
Yeah,
jerk. Yeah, dude. It's cool. It's super cool. It really is refreshing, and it puts a whole new spin on Star Wars.
Yes,
it really does, and it's so impressive that they managed to pull it off. Am I the only one that will probably now have a new phrase every now and again when I'm in trouble, or I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. Dude, that guy, I got to tell you, blind guy.
Star Wars
Daredevil. If there's one thing that really irked me, a lot of things irked me about the prequels. Okay, a lot of things. But one thing that really bummed me out more than anything is that George Lucas was too dense to understand, that Obi-Wan wore robes on Tatooine, probably because everybody wore robes on Tatooine. It was just part of the style of dress there. But no. We're going to translate that into all Jedis dress just like that forever. That's their uniform. That bothered me so much because it made the Jedis way less interesting. He made them so stupid and monotone. In the original trilogy, you had on the one hand Obi-Wan. Yeah. Wise old wizard or whatever. Mm-hmm. But you also had Yoda, who was different. They were different personality types entirely.
Still wore robes.
And they had old and ratty though. And again, I didn't.
Well, he's been in exile on Dagobah. They're not known for their garment district.
Right. But I didn't assume that he wore the robe because he was a Jedi. I assumed that's just what he wore on this ratty planet. So again, we had to codify these things, which I think is silly. So coming around, what I mean to say is I don't like how the Jedi have become like this. I don't like how they've been kind of portrayed now as robed, stoic dorks in the prequels. I imagined Jedi Masters, people who are Force-sensitive Jedi guys, to be more like Star Wars Daredevil, that guy. And he wasn't a Jedi, which he was quick to say, that he's not a Jedi. But I used to think the Jedi were all unique guys that just happened to know how to use the Force. And in my imagination as a kid watching Star Wars, that's what I thought. That there were they didn't have to all wear the same clothes and have the same boring ideals. They were all different people who used the Force in their own way, and that's what they were. And this guy was kind of like, he was like what the Jedi Master I wanted to be in the movie.
I mean, I didn't go that path with the Jedi when I was a kid. I kind of figured more along the line of because they establish in New Hope that Jedi was a religion. So with religion, there's going to be certain, like, for lack of a better term, uniform policies. Not like physical uniform, but like certain beliefs that, in a lot of ways, like Roman Catholic priests.
Sure. No, I get that.
There's some variation, and there was some variation throughout the prequel movies, not a ton, in the dress. But think of it along the lines of that. But I understand what you're saying too. I like how both in Force Awakens with Maz,
Right.
and in Rogue One with Star Wars Daredevil,
Yeah.
we've seen that there are characters who know the Force, and are
Yes.
sensitive to the Force, who are not necessarily Jedi.
Right. I like that. That's
Yeah.
that, to me. That's cool.
Yeah.
Everybody.
I'm
that's
fine with that. With that too. I did not mind the portrayal of the Jedi in the prequel trilogy. I know a lot of people had the problem with the fact that they were apparently killed off too easy.
Yes, they were.
I think that's because a lot of people built up. They were never described as all-powerful warriors at any point in the original trilogy. They
No.
were simply described as peacekeepers.
Yeah, but they got punked by stormtroopers who are not exactly the most, adept as we know. And again, I think the other thing with the prequels, we were disappointed because we were told that Vader helped hunt them down and kill them, and he really didn't do that at all.
Kinda.
Exactly. See, the fact that you have to say it like that.
Yeah. I get. No,
they had one,
that's a
you
valid
had one
point.
job, George.
Yeah.
You had one job.
No, that's a valid point.
But again, we get to see Vader in action this time, so
Yes.
it's okay. Not
Well,
killing Jedi, but we get to see him in action.
Is it wrong of me to hope for a Darth Vader standalone movie after this?
It is wrong, but it's okay.
Can we hurry up and get that done before we lose James Earl Jones?
I don't know how. Can you make a movie about a villain like that?
They made a comic book series about a villain like that.
It was a good series too,
Yeah.
but they had to frame it a certain way though. Like Vader is the main character, but he's still doing nefarious things for a more nefarious boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, Rogue One was sweet. I don't know what else to say, man.
Yeah. I want to watch episode 4 today.
I know, right?
I want to watch New Hope again.
We can. I have it. I have the the DVD of the OG, by the way. So no special edition Han nonsense. I want to watch Rogue One again. I have to see this movie again.
Yeah.
It's just very cool, very very cool. I can't believe I almost can't believe Disney signed off on it.
Yeah, because it's dark.
It's dark, man.
It's dark. It's none of the main characters live.
Nope. There's a
it's-
body count. There's not a lot of quippy dialogue. It's pretty serious.
Yeah.
It's a war movie.
Yeah.
Literally. I like talking about Star Wars in the positive way again. Thank you, Disney, for
It's
doing this.
Been a long time.
No, it's been a year, but
Been a while.
it's been a good year. It just feels good.
Yeah. I mean, 2016 has been a really.
Lucas is with us, and he's dreaming about Star Wars right now because he's twitching all over the place. Oh my God, look at him!
It's been a really rough year in a lot of aspects of life. BT dubs, if you are a celebrity or of anyone of historical significance, just lock yourself in your house with a doctor for the remainder of the month.
Yeah,
Don't
it's been
take
tough,
any
man.
chances.
It's been tough.
Because death is going to want to go out with a bang. But as far as like pop culture stuff, things that have come out this year, it's been a really good friggin' year.
Yeah, it's been good, man. Been good to me for anyway. I've new Metallica record and
New Street
Star
Fighter,
Wars and
new Star Wars, more Marvel,
cool stuff has happened, man. And
Luke Cage, Daredevil season 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
My son.
Oh yeah, that happened.
He was born the week Daredevil season 2 came out. Because I remember Julie and I were in the hospital watching the first 2 episodes when she was in her hospital bed. So yeah, Star Wars Rogue One. Go see it.
Yes.
And then go see it again.
I hope you have already seen it after listening to us spoil it for you.
Yes.
I also liked, before one last parting shot, I guess I liked also that much in the tradition of A New Hope, we didn't see the Emperor.
No.
Heard about him, didn't see him.
I was kind of surprised that. I thought, because, Ian McDermott's still alive and kicking.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't need as much makeup now.
You cheeky monkey, you.
Alrighty, I think that brings our Star Wars holiday special to a close.
Well, hang on.
Oh, wait. What we got?
Seeing as we are recording before the holiday next week,
Yes.
should we do a very special Star Wars holiday special episode next week where we actually watch the Star Wars holiday special?
No.
Come on.
No. Don't make me go Tracy Morgan on you. No. No. Hell no. No.
We could do a live commentary track.
No. God, no. There's like bad that you can make fun of and have a good time with. Trial of the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
You know, you can have a good time with that. Star Wars Holiday Special, sir, is just so soul-suckingly bad.
It is. It really is.
That, like, the first 45 minutes is just Wookiees.
Yeah.
Talking.
Yeah. And
there's no subtitles.
Nope. It's surreal. It's a thing.
It's horrible.
Yeah. It really is.
So, no, we're not going to do that next week.
But, okay.
No.
All right.
No.
All right.
No.
All right.
Do you want to lose
all
of our listeners?
No. I value the listeners. But I think they might value us making fun of the Star Wars Holiday Special.
There's only so far I'm willing to suffer for this show.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay.
All right, folks. That's going to wrap up our Star Wars Holiday Special. We appreciate you joining us again. If you would like to contact us, ask us any questions, share your Rogue One stories, share your Star Wars memories, give us any suggestions for the show, you can reach us on Twitter at Devils Do Pod. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/DevilsDoPod. You can email us at thedevilsdopod@gmail.com. Or you can visit our website, thedevilsdopodcast.com, for all these resources.
Boom.
Any last thoughts, Drew?
No, man. Star Wars.
All right.
It's back in a good way, and I'm happy about it.
So,
happy holidays, everybody.
Be one with the Force. The Force is with you.
Yes.
And may the Force be with you all.